Hello everybody, hope you're all doing good. It's Sunday today and I'm just doing a quick video to show you some bits that I got on my little day trip out. It was a very impromptu thing. I decided to go to Haworth for the day. It's Haworth or I think if you're northern you'd probably say Haworth or Haworth. Yeah, it's sorry, my cat is having a nose in the bag. It's a Haworth, Haworth, and it's in Yorkshire. And Teo, what are you doing? Come here. You've been a nuisance. You know what happens to cats that get too curious? You get in trouble. Yeah. We don't want you suffocating in the plastic bag, do we? No. You say hello to everybody. You say hello. Yeah, so I went to Haworth. It was really impromptu. I was sat in bed this morning. Having said that I was going to not do much this weekend, I was just going to relax. You know, do usual things that need to be done. But other than that, just pretty much have a nice chilled weekend. And I was lying in bed and I was like, I fancy going to Haworth because it's come up on my social feed a few times in the last week or so, because there's lots of independent little shops there, gift shops and things, because it's become very commercialised. There's lots of tourists that go there because of the Brontë sisters. And so yeah, naturally there's lots of gift shops, and because it's in the run up to Halloween, some of these independent shops have lots of sort of autumnal witchy type goods for sale. So and you know, it has that atmosphere because it's got the cobbled streets and the old buildings, and everyone's put pumpkins out, you know, and outside the shop and inside the windows. So I think because of that, it was on my mind. And yeah, I just decided to go. So, and I gained an extra hour because of the clocks going back. So when I first woke up this morning, I looked at the clock on my wall, my analogue clock on the wall, and I was like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. And then I looked at my phone and it said 7 o'clock, and I was like, huh? And I was like, oh yeah, clock's went back. So it was actually nice to gain an hour, and it meant that I thought, well, if I get up now and have something to eat, get myself together, make a packed lunch, I can hit the road and sort of make a day of it. It's not too far from where I live. It's 2 hours, so it's perfectly doable for a day trip. But yeah, it's 2 hours for me. And I thought, you know what, sod it, I'm just going to do it. So that's what I did. I just got in the car and went. Unfortunately, I did get rather wet. When I left my town this morning, it was bright blue sky, sunshine, you know, obviously a bit of a chilly wind. It's not going to be warm at this time of year, but if you were in the sun, it was quite strong. And it was a lovely bright blue sky. And I was like, okay, I'll take my coat, obviously, because, you know, it is a bit chilly, but I wasn't expecting any rain. And then the further and further and further inland towards middle of Yorkshire I got, it just got greyer and greyer and greyer. So I left my town with my shades on in the car, and then halfway there I was like, right, don't need them, took those off. And then by the time I got there, it was raining. And I know this is going to sound really daft, but if you're a Brit, you'll know what I mean when I say this. It was a really wet rain. And you might be thinking, well, obviously rain is wet, but Brits all know what I mean by that. It was that type of sleety rain that just soaks you to your skin. It just goes, and it was going in sheets across because of the wind, and it was, oh God, it was just soaking. And, you know, you had it like all dripping down your skin and dripping off your nose, and that's why like these bits have all come out and they've gone a little bit curly because they got soaked. I'm glad I did at least take a baseball cap, because the coat I decided to take with me didn't have a hood, and it's not typically waterproof. I mean, it's shower proof-ish, because it's got a velvet material, so the water kind of beads on it, but it's not designed to be a waterproof coat. And because I was in the rain for a prolonged period of time, it did go through. Luckily it didn't go all the way through. Like when I got in the car and I took my coat off, my jumper was dry. But when I got home and I bought my coat inside, I could really feel the weight of the coat. It had gotten quite heavy and it was really damp. So I've currently got that hanging out to dry in front of one of my radiators. But I didn't let the weather stop me from having a good day. I thought, you know what, you know, you gotta, it's what you make of it, isn't it? Oh, lovely cup of tea. Do you know, I don't have tea very often. I'm more of a coffee drinker. I've gone through different phases throughout my life. I used to be a massive coffee drinker. Then I got into tea, and then I drank tea for quite a few, both, but I was like a big tea drinker, and I would alternate between sort of tea and coffee. And then I would say the last 2 years or so, I've kind of not gone off tea. Like I don't dislike it. I still enjoy it, but it's just not my go-to anymore. And I think because I drink caffeine free, I can have a coffee at like 9 o'clock at night and it doesn't matter because it's got no caffeine in it. So I think that really my go-to is coffee. But I don't know, maybe it was going to Yorkshire today and it was the weather and coming home and putting the heating on, and I had a stew for dinner and I just thought, you know what, that stew needs a cup of tea to go with it. So, but yeah, I'm glad I went out. It was really, really last minute. But after the crap news I had this week with my neck and that, I thought, you know what, I am actually going to go out. I'm going to have a nice day rather than mope around at home and do nothing. I'm just going to go and enjoy myself. So, yeah, really glad I did. Very tired, but it was worth it. I have been to Haworth before, but this made me feel really old. I was trying to work out when it was I last visited. I've only been once with my mum. We were on holiday in Yorkshire together. This is when we live south, so rather than it being a 2-hour trip, it was much longer. And I was 18. So yeah, it's a long time ago, and yeah, it really hit me today. I was like, wow, it's been long enough that it all felt quite hazy to me. But I sort of when I hit the main street, cobbled street with all of the shops, and I saw the Bronte's house, it came back to me, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, it's familiar, but it was all a bit hazy. But yeah, it was gorgeous. If I mean, I'm sure most of you have heard of the Brontë sisters, but perhaps if you're watching this and you're not from the UK, the Brontë sisters were authors, and they also did poetry and sketches and drawings. They were very talented, and some of the famous novels they wrote were Wuthering Heights, Jane Eyre, Shirley, to name a couple. Very, very sad story with the Brontë family. I feel so. I actually welled up a little bit when I was going around the house, because it's been so long. I didn't really remember a lot of the information from obviously when I visited over 20 years ago. And I know that the sisters all died young, but I didn't realise how young. And it really gives you that sense of your own mortality when you get to this sort of age and you realise, my God, like I'm older than any of the Brontë sisters ever were. It's just crazy that they all died so young. But you know, unfortunately, if you got ill back in those days, unless you had a strong enough constitution to fight it off, you were done for, because they didn't have antibiotics and they didn't have all of these things. But I feel so sorry for their father, because he had 6 children and he outlived all of his children and his wife. And I found that so sad. Yeah, I was reading that in there and I was just thinking, that poor man, like, I'm surprised he didn't die of a broken heart. And he had two young children. They weren't mentioned that much in the museum, actually. He had two young children. I think they were called Elizabeth and... I think it was Elizabeth and Mary. And Mary might not be right. But Elizabeth was definitely... Or was it Marie? No, it was Marie. Elizabeth, yeah, because his wife was called Marie. And they had two girls called Elizabeth and Marie. And they weren't mentioned very much. And they died as children. They went to a school and were treated quite harshly there, and they both got ill whilst at the school, and they were brought home, and then from what I can remember they died shortly after returning home. So he lost them both quite young. I think they were both under 10, roughly that sort of age anyway. So that was really sad. And then he went on to have the three famous Brontë girls, which were Charlotte, Anne and Emily Jane. And he had one son. Was it Bertram? No, I'm thinking of Beatrix Potter's brother was Bertram. Oh, his name escapes me now. It begins with a B anyway. It's something similar to Bertram. Can't remember his name. But he died young. He had trouble with alcohol and drugs. I don't know what drugs, whatever drugs were popular of the day. Probably laudanum. In fact, I think it was laudanum, because I was speaking to one of the ladies in one of the local shops, and she said that it's where... was it Bantram? I think his name was Bantram. It was where it was a local apothecary where he went in to get his laudanum, she said to me. So that's probably what they meant in the museum where it said he had problems with alcohol and drugs. It was probably laudanum, because that laudanum was a massive problem back in the Victorian period. It was very heavily used because it was one of those cure-alls, you know, you take it for anything. And it was basically an opioid, so not too dissimilar from the problems we have today. It's just that, you know, we don't have it in that format really anymore. It comes in different formats, but laudanum was like a liquid form that you would drink, and yeah, people were very heavily addicted to it. So yeah, he died young, and the three sisters, Emily Jane died first. She was only, I think, 29, and then just a few months later, at the age of 30, Anne died. But Anne died because she became ill, and her older sister Charlotte, they went together to Scarborough to take to the waters, as they used to say, because they used to obviously think that, which is true to a certain extent, that sea air obviously and mineral waters and sea water is good for you, and it is. But you know, they used to think it was like going to be a cure for, you know, everything. And obviously if you've got something serious like tuberculosis or something, you're not going to get cured from sea air. But it was the best they had. So yeah, Anne became ill. Charlotte decided to take her to Scarborough, to the coast, to take the waters and, you know, to get the fresh sea air. And unfortunately Anne succumbed while she was there. And I felt so sorry for Charlotte, because by this point, you know, they lost two young siblings, Maria and Elizabeth, and then they've lost their brother, and they just recently had lost Emily Jane. And then whilst taking Anne to the coast to try and get her better, you know, she lost that battle, and she was so worried about her father, you know, having to cope with yet another funeral so soon after Emily's, that she decided to bury her sister alone in Scarborough before she came back home, because she didn't want to put her dad through another funeral so soon. So she buried her alone. So Anne is actually buried in Scarborough apparently, and everyone else is buried at Haworth. Charlotte then came home, and she went on to live for a few more years, but even she died young. I think she died in 1855. at the age of, I think she was 39. So yeah, Emily Jane was 29, Anne was 30, and then Charlotte was 39. So it's it's just crazy, isn't it, that people used to die so young back then. Charlotte did get married. She did at least manage to fall in love and marry, but yeah, their marriage was short-lived because Charlotte died, so very, very sad. But I feel so sorry for their dad. Outliving all 6 of your children and your wife. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? But the Brontes' home is at the back of the church in Haworth, and there's a memorial tomb for them all inside the church, and there is a plaque in the church. If you go in, you can see that that there is a plaque, and sort of a little bit of information as to where their tomb is. There's also outside in the grounds, in the graveyard, there are a couple of tombs outside which belong to a couple of the servants, because the Brontë family had a few personal servants that lived with them. But apparently the relationship between them and their servants was actually quite close. They treated them really well. They even, they gave them gifts. They treated them almost as part of the family, from what we can gather. And wrote letters to them, and if they were away, they would write to each other. And yeah, so it was a very different relationship than what you would normally think, between master and servant. They were actually they were treated well. And some of the gifts that were given to the servants were on display in the house, and 2 of those servants, one was called Tabitha, I think the other one was called Mary, and they're buried out in the churchyard. But anyway, I would recommend visiting. Oh, sorry, I need to move because my legs are killing me. I would recommend visiting the house, and it's got so many of the Brontes' things in, and it's just amazing to go in and think that, Teo, come away from the candle. It's amazing to think that, you walk in the dining room, and it's where, they were sat writing their stories and coming up with all of their ideas for their novels, and it's just, it was a little bit, I was a bit starstruck, really. I didn't really take it in, not as much as I can remember anyway. I didn't really take it in as much when I went when I was 18, but I think it's because I was young and I didn't appreciate it as much. I do remember it being really beautiful, but I just don't think it didn't really strike a chord with me as much as it perhaps does now. So, but yeah, it was very nice, and the high street is full of so many little independent gift shops, and there's some cafes and pubs and things like that. So it's a very British day out. If you like history and you like that kind of thing, I would really recommend it. And because it's so close to Halloween, it is full of Halloween decorations in the windows, and all the shops had pumpkins, gathered in little groups of like 3 or 4, like little piles on the steps outside the shops and that. And yeah, it was great. One of the shops was called Spooks. And there was another shop which I'll show you, I got some merchandise from. So yeah, that's what I was really doing this video for, just to show you some things that I got. So the first thing was this this bracelet. Sorry, I've got the lamps on at the moment because it's not nice to have the overhead lighting on, but if I hold it up closely, hopefully you'll be able to see. I got an amethyst, pure amethyst bracelet, and one of the amethyst pieces is actually carved into a rose. I'm hoping you can see that. So yeah, I was really happy with that. It's very, very pretty. It's got some little silver detail on it there. I went into the shop and asked the lady in there what gemstones are good for joint pain and muscle pain, that kind of thing. And I can't remember the one she said now. I think it might have been red jasper. but she didn't have any of that in stock, unfortunately. But then she had a little look. She got this big book out and she started looking through it, and she said that amethyst was also another good one. And I happen to love amethyst anyway because it's purple, which is one of my favourite colours. And yeah, she had this gorgeous bracelet, and yeah, it's all real amethyst. So I got that for myself, and I got they had a craft fair on. I was really lucky to go that day because they actually had a craft fair on in what used to be the old school, which was built next to the Bronte's house. The school was actually built by the Brontë family, and his children all went to school there. And they had all of these craft stalls set up for the day. So I popped in there for a little while to get out of the rain, and one of the stalls was, I love this name, Dappled Goat and Co. And she makes all her own soaps, handmade in Yorkshire, with goat's milk, which is very soothing on your skin. So if you've got like skin complaints or very dry skin, goat's milk is very, very soothing. But she does actually have a Facebook page. I'll just hold that up in case you want to have a little look, if you want to pause and take a little shot of that. But yeah, Dappled Goat and Co. Yeah, I got one of her little soaps. I got a tangerine and cinnamon one because I thought it would be quite autumnal. But yeah, all her own packaging as well, in these cute little boxes, and a little goat. Yeah, this is tangerine and cinnamon, handmade, 100% natural soap, not tested on animals, no palm oils, no sodium lauryl sulfate, which is typically found in most shampoos and conditioners, and it's not very good for you, and no parabens. And yeah, smells gorgeous. I think it was £5. Yeah, £5. Is it? Oh, it's all wrapped up, but it's a lovely colour. It smells beautiful. Really can smell that cinnamon. It's a very, very warm scent, perfect for this time of year. So I was really happy with that. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I said to her, oh no, there goes my bank balance. And she started laughing. I said, I love natural soaps, especially if they are, you know, like a handmade, local, independent business. I like to support them, and I know that what's going on my skin is, you know, is good. So any chance I can get to purchase, you know, a natural soap and try out someone's handmade soap, I will. So I got that, and I got the bracelet, and then one of the other stalls from the inside market, she handmade glass ornaments, and she had lots of dangling ones for hanging in windows, or you can put them on like your Christmas trees. So some, obviously in the run up to Christmas, some of them were Christmas themed, but also some of them were Halloween themed, and she had little ghosts, she had some pumpkins, she had, I nearly did buy the witch hat. She had this cute little witch hat glass ornament. Oh, it's going to be difficult to undo this. She's wrapped up in bubble wrap for me, but she's put sellotape all the way around it, and it's a bit, I think I'm going to have to rip it. Naturally, I bought the bat. She had these little bats dangling off of, she set up one of those like mini fake trees, and then she had all the glass decorations sort of like hanging from it. It looked really good. But yeah, she had a couple of bats. And this, they were all in like unique pieces. Each one was slightly different. It's so cute. I got this little glass bat. He's so sweet. I mean, I can see here through him. Obviously, you probably won't be able to, but in the light, you'll be able to see through him. But it's flat on the back, and then it's quite sort of 3D and smooth on the front. There are another couple that were in a slightly different shape because obviously they're all handmade, so they don't always come out the same. But that one I just particularly took a shine to. So yeah, I was really pleased with him. He was £8. Which, I mean, look at the quality of the, you know, that she soldered this metal clasp on the back and soldered it into the glass. It's just such good quality. And I, you know, again, I like to support local businesses if I can. And these are, you know, unique pieces that you don't get mass produced in shops. So I think it's just nice to have something a little bit different. So yeah, I got my soap and the little bat from the market, and then I got the bracelet from one of the shops. From the actual Brontë museum or house in the gift shop, I got a magnet, because I always like to get a magnet wherever I go, particularly if I'm on a day trip out or on holiday. I like to get magnets that I add to my fridge, although I am running out of space. But yeah, that's what the house looks like, and the grounds. I had a little walk around the garden as well. There were still quite a few flowers out actually, despite the time of year. It's very pretty. So yeah, had a little walk around. So that will be going on my fridge. And then the pièce de résistance. I went to a shop called the Cabinet of Curiosities, which was like something out of Harry Potter. Now, the only type of shop that I've seen that's similar is where I get my favourite perfume from, which is the Society of Alchemists, and that's in York. Although they have recently branched out and they've now got a second shop open, so that just shows you how well they're doing. But this was the Cabinet of Curiosities, and I've currently got the paper bag drying over the radiator because the bag is too nice. It's a little paper gift bag, and unfortunately, because it is paper, and on the way back to the car, I got so soaked that this poor bag actually just ripped through at the bottom, and all my stuff went all over the floor, and I was walking up a hill back to the car park. I had my stick with me because Haworth is it's set right in the hilly dales of Yorkshire, and it is a very hilly village, and I knew that, so I took my stick with me, and I'm glad I did, because I did struggle going up the hill where all the main shops were. Going back towards the car on the way home, that was fine because it was all downhill, but heading up the hill when I first arrived to get up to the Bronte's house, I was like, oh God. But yeah, I popped into this shop, and it was just amazing. They've got it done up like an old apothecary, and I said, is all the cabinetry original from the shop? And they said no, we got it from other shops, but they are all original apothecary cabinets, but they're just from other places originally. But yeah, you walk in and it's like a Harry Potter shop. It's amazing, and they've got all of the drawers all labelled up, and they've got the big what were those glass bottles called? They had a specific name. I can't remember what it is now, but they had those big glass bottles that, you know, the chemists and the drugstores used to put in the windows with all the coloured liquid inside to show that they were a chemist. The reason they used to do that is because back then most working class people couldn't read, they were illiterate, and so by placing these big glass bottles in the window and putting the different coloured potions inside, it was a visual guide to illiterate people so that they would know that that was a pharmacy. Yeah, it was an amazing shop, but it was packed, absolutely rammed, and the lady, one of the members of staff, she was having to man the door and control the amount of people that were going in at any one time, because she left the door for a little while to go and help someone behind the counter because they were getting there was too much of a queue forming, so she had to go and help out her colleagues at the till. But while she was doing that and the door was left unmanned, this massive rush of people came in, and suddenly there was just no room to move. So she had to quickly run back, and she was like, right, no more people, and she shut the door, and she said, I'm ever so sorry, she said, but I'm going to have to ask you to wait outside until, you know, some people have left, and she had to then control the numbers. It was crazy. Oh, I've got pins and needles. Always get pins and needles. I need to start filming somewhere else. I've also managed to get cat hair all over. I'm wearing a dark red pair of leggings today, and they're showing up all the cat hair, even though I did hoover the other day, but clearly not well enough. So yeah, I'm going to show you what I got from there. It's just their stuff is beautiful. They do body care things, so hand lotion, body lotion, bath bombs, bath salts. They had loads of bath salts in these massive big vats. The smell was beautiful, and there was these scoops, and you sort of help yourself and, you know, fill up sort of like a bag, you know, and they do it by weight. They had all these different things. They do perfume. I got This one, which is called Hemlock, that's the name of the shop, Cabinet of Curiosities. This is Hemlock, and this is blackberry, green herbs and rhubarb, and this one is actually a gift. Yeah, it's got these beautiful botanical plants around, and then on this side you've got a moth and a spider in his little web, which is cute. But yeah, really nice bottle of hand lotion. I do try to avoid buying things in plastic, but it's not always possible, particularly with body lotions. And you know, you normally need quite a big bottle for all over body use, and it's difficult to get hold of a container big enough to hold a body lotion that isn't plastic. So but yeah, this is a gift for someone. When the bag split and I was going uphill, I was going up this hill back towards the car park, and the rain was so bad that it had started running down in these like rivulets down the road, and it was all muddy. Mud had all collected in the water, and it was just this murky water that was just running down the road, and like it just went thump, and it all fell out, and I was like, oh shit. And I was really disappointed, like, because even the bag is so nice. I didn't really want to chuck the bag. I mean, I think I'll be able to save it, but this woman was behind me. It was really late, and I was lucky that there was someone else going back to the car park, because most of the people had left the public car park by this point, and it was getting dark because it was coming up for 5 o'clock, and obviously because the clocks went back last night, it's now dark, you know, at that time. And with my bad back, and I had my stick and I had my handbag, and I was like, I don't have any free hands. And anyway, the woman behind me, she helped me pick the things up, and I was like, oh bless you, thanks so much, because yeah, she helped me. She was really nice. So unfortunately some of the bits did get some mud on them and a few scratches, but I mean, like this one, which is the gift, unfortunately did get a bit of a, where the plastic landed really hard, it did scuff at the bottom, and there is a bit of a mark, but I'm hoping if I give it a little wipe I might be able to get rid of that. But yeah, luckily they didn't get too ruined, other than being a bit wet. Luckily I've got loads of spare plastic carrier bags in my car, so once I got to the car, I to get them, because my handbag wasn't big enough to put them all in, so I had to shove them all in my coat pocket. So then my coat pockets were like bursting at the seams trying to fit it all in. I got another hand cream, and this one is for me. This is called Curio, I suppose because of Cabinet of Curiosities, the shop. It's called Curio. It's this beautiful oatmeal colour. The other one is like a white, and this one is in like an oatmeal colour, Curio. And this one is right up my street. It is an enchanting blend of dark woods and botanicals, and it smells absolutely divine. Anything that's got like oud or tonka bean or wood or moss or anything like this, just absolutely stunning, this smell. And look, it's got the little shop on it and little bats. How cute is that? So yeah, that one's for me. And I was really chuffed to find this, and it's such a weird coincidence because it was only the other day that I was watching, it's quite an old BBC series that they did, but they did a TV series about apothecaries and medicines back in the 50s and 60s. And is it Ruth Goodman? Yeah, no, Jane Goodman. No, Ruth Goodman. Ruth Goodman stars in it. And they basically open up an apothecary shop as it would have been in the time, and they have an apprentice, and they mix all of back then, rather than like the pills we get today being made in factories, and then, you know, the pharmacies basically just receive them and then they just dish them out to the public. Back then, it was the era of actually inventing medications, and you didn't even need a license to open up a pharmacy. You could be a coffee shop owner and just open up a pharmacy, or a bookseller and open up a pharmacy. It's ridiculous. There was no license needed. And you would open up, and then you would invent sometimes your own cures for things. Cures. They're a bit of a quack doctor, really. But this is of an era where, you know, that we didn't have the NHS, and only the rich could afford a doctor, or you might be able to go to the doctor and scrape enough money together for maybe just a one-off, you know, a one-off visit if you were really, really sick, or if the doctor was particularly compassionate, he might have seen somebody at a subsidised amount or free if he, you know, if he was that way inclined. But it was really, really tough if you were working class back then. So everybody relied on pharmacies, because the pharmacist would be able to give you some kind of ointment or cream, or, you know, concoction to drink to, you know, make you better. But most of the time these things didn't make you better. Some of them do have genuine healing properties in, if they were based off of plant knowledge. You know, so for example, sage is antibacterial, and if you drink sage tea, that can actually help with a sore throat. I've actually tried that, and it's actually very, very good and tasty. And obviously honey and lemon and all that kind of thing. So there is some truth to some of it, but a lot of the things wouldn't have really done very much for you. And some of the things were downright dangerous. I mean, they, like I say, they were using laudanum in practically everything. They were putting chloroform in things and saying that it was a cure for coughs. Well, of course it would be, because chloroform, you know, is going to make you feel all like this, and it's going to relax your muscles, so then you are going to cough less. It's just crazy. I'm glad I wasn't born in that era. I probably wouldn't have made it. But anyway, the reason I mention that is because this product, which is Zambuk, very weird name, and this is a little tin of ointment. It says, rub it in, wonderfully soothing, always keep a tin handy, the great herbal balm. And it's only a few simple ingredients in it. It has petrolatum, which is basically the same as Vaseline, like petroleum jelly. A Vaseline, which I suppose that gives you like the base to be able to like rub it in. And then it has I've never heard of that, globulus leaf oil, thyme oil, pine oil, pine leaf oil, and camphor. And camphor is very warming, and I think even like if you've heard of tiger balm, which is good for rubbing into like pulled muscles, bruises, aching back, that kind of thing. It has a warming effect on the skin, and this has got camphor in it. So it's a similar ointment. It's going to have that warming feel on the skin and be very soothing, and it's going to be quite strong. So it's good for general aches and pains. So I bought this because sometimes I do get a little bit of pain in my fingers, and I thought I could use it maybe on my lower back or rub it into the back of my neck. So yeah. But this was actually mentioned on that show, because this brand has been going since the 1800s. So yeah, and if I hadn't have seen it on that programme, I wouldn't have recognised the tin. But the fact that they still stock it, I do remember them saying on the show that it was still sold today, but obviously it's not very popular. It's not something that you can just walk into most pharmacies and find, because it's not, you know, it's been superseded by so many modern products now. There's not a lot of it around, but you can still clearly get hold of it. So I was really pleased to find that, and I'm going to give that a go. Love the fact that they've still kept the tin in a very traditional, old-fashioned style as well. And then the last thing I got, which is the most beautiful. Unfortunately, the top of the lid will not go back in properly now for where it dropped. I am so lucky this didn't break, because this cost me £35, this perfume, and it's glass. And when it fell through the bag, I was like, please don't tell me that has just broken. Didn't break. I think because obviously I'm only 5'2", it was quite low to the ground, and it was in a cardboard outer packaging, and the glass is quite thick. Other than that, I think it would have smashed. So I'm very, very lucky. But again, they do it in the sort of the actual shop design. One side says enchanted goods, and then the other side says and potions. And the bottle itself is very pretty. It's very simple but very pretty. I absolutely adore the lid. And it's got this ribbed, this old-fashioned sort of vintage style ribbed glass. I'm so glad it didn't break. Looks absolutely fine. It's 50 mils, and I got it in the Curio scent, which was the same as the hand and body lotion that I bought because it smells so gorgeous. And it's got the little gold detail as well. It has an atomizer, so you get a really good dispersion of the spray, because sometimes with cheap perfumes you go and it just goes there's no atomizer built in, but this does have one, so it disperses very finely and it goes quite wide. So and it's got you know, proper perfume oils in it, so it's a good quality one. Eau de parfum. But yeah, beautiful lid. It looks like an ice cube. But I mean, it's divine. I'm gonna spray some on me now. Oh my God. It's sweet. It's woodsy. A little bit floral, but not in a cloying way, because I'm not a massive floral fan. There's some florals I don't like. I don't mind violet. I don't mind some gentle florals, but I don't like really strong floral. But this one is, yes, it's very, very sweet. Definitely woodsy and a slight bit of floral, but it's just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I couldn't resist. When I smelt they had a tester of all of the hand creams out. Because I mean, I will say that they're not cheap in this shop, but they're all they're cruelty free. They're handmade, not only handmade in Haworth, but actually in the shop. They have down in the cellar. This is what was so amazing. Imagine the building is, I would say, at least 1700s. And you've got the main shop, and then in the cellars below is where they have all of they have the kitchens. And she said all of their hand creams and all of that, all of their products that are their own brand stuff, obviously they do sell things that aren't their own brand, but most of their own brand stuff, it's all made on site by hand. And it's their own perfumes, their own scent creations. And so it's a lot of effort that's gone into that, and that's what you're paying for. So yes, it's pricey stuff, but it's very good quality. And I tried a tester of the hand cream, and you know a good hand cream when you put it on and it just glides on, sinks in effortlessly. There's no grease, it's not sticky, and it's just so softening. You know, a real good quality hand cream will do that. So you can really notice the difference, but this is just beautiful scent. And they had loads of different ones. For each hand cream they do, they also have the perfume, which is similar to Society of Alchemists, because in there you can get the perfumes, but you can also get hand creams, bath bombs. They also do reed diffusers. I think they did reed diffusers here as well. But then in the back of the shop they also sold books on plants and witchy things, and you know, apothecary books and all that kind of thing. It's just a magical shop, and the ceiling had all been painted like the night sky. Stunning. But yeah, I keep getting whiffs of it, and I'm just like, oh, do you know, Till Death is in competition. That one I bought the other day, that one I got from the Essence Vault, that was Cherry Smoke, which was the Tom Ford, inspired by Tom Ford one. That's really, really lovely. I was wearing that today, actually. This, I think I might prefer this. I think it goes Till Death, then this one, then Cherry Smoke. But yeah, the fact that it's got, I mean, come on. It's got little bats on it. So cute. Yeah, so the perfume was 35. These bottles of hand and body lotion, they are quite big, as you can see. That's going to last you, well, it depends on how much obviously you apply, but for me, that's going to last me months and months and months. Those were £13, but again, you've got to think they're handmade in small batches in a shop. They're independent. They're unique to here, so it's not like it's mass produced. That's what you're paying for. And then I think this was like £5. So, but yeah, that was it. Just wanted to show you. The bag, I to be honest, I cannot be bothered to get up because my legs are killing me. And I mean, I am going to have to get up when I finish this video, but the amount of time it's going to take me to go and get the bag and then bring it back and get back down on the floor to show you. But basically, their paper bag, their gift bags, basically have that on the front of it. They have the little shop with the bats on. In fact, before I went into the shop, I saw people walking around the village carrying these little cute paper gift bags, and they had bats on, and I was like, oh, what shop is that? And then the outside of the shop, oh no, my iPad's in my bedroom. I was going to say, I can't show you the photographs, but my iPad's in my bedroom. Next time I'm on doing a video, I will get my iPad and I will show you the picture of the front of the shop. They had it all done up for Halloween with pumpkins and things, and it looked amazing. So there you go. Anyway, that's it. I'm glad I went out and enjoyed myself rather than moping around the house. I hope you've all had a good Sunday. I can't believe it's Monday again already tomorrow. It's crazy. I don't know where that weekend went. But anyway, I hope you all had a lovely day, whatever it was that you were up to. And if you liked having a look at my little things and you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much and take care. I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.